the lawyer's voice echoed in the silent room. "And to my beloved daughter Rebecca, I leave my entire estate, the house, the business, and all financial assets." I sat frozen in the mahogany chair, watching my sister's face transform. Not surprising. Relief. My father had been dead for 3 days. The funeral was yesterday, and apparently I didn't exist in his will. "There must be a mistake," I heard myself say. "Dad would never." "I'm sorry, Miss Chen." Attorney Morrison adjusted his glasses. "This will was updated 6 months ago. Very clear instructions." Rebecca finally looked at me. Her expression wasn't a triumph. It was prepared. Like she'd been rehearsing this moment. "Sarah, I know this is shocking." Her voice dripped with false sympathy. "But Dad made his choice. Maybe if you'd visited more often." My hands clenched. I'd visited every Sunday for 2 years while she lived 3 states away. Calling maybe twice a year. That's not fair, and you know it. She stood smoothing her black dress. "The reading is over. I need to inventory the house this week. Please collect your personal items by Friday." Friday. 3 days to empty my childhood home. I walked out of that office in a daze. Dad and I had been closer, so I thought. He'd built Chen's import company from nothing, always saying it would pass to both his daughters equally. What changed? My phone buzzed. A text from Dad's accountant Henry Wu. "Don't sign anything. We need to talk. Privately." Henry Wu had worked with my father for 23 years. When I arrived at his office that evening, he looked like he hadn't slept since Dad died. "Sarah, sit down." He pulled out a file folder. "Something's very wrong. You're telling me Rebecca just inherited everything. That will Morrison read today? Your father didn't write it." My heart stopped. "What?" "6 months ago your father came to me worried. Said Rebecca had been asking strange questions about his estate, about how inheritance works, about what happens if there's only one will on file." He slid papers across his desk. "Look at this." It was a bank statement. Chen's import company. But the numbers made no sense. Why are there transfers of $50,000 every month to an offshore account? Exactly what your father asked me. Started 8 months ago. He hired a forensic accountant. Henry's jaw tightened. "Sarah, someone was embezzling from the company. Someone with access to everything." "Rebecca. Dad found out?" "Not just that. He pulled out another document. He made a new will 3 months ago. A real one. Left the company to you because Rebecca had violated his trust. Left her a token amount, nothing more." I stared at the signature. My father's handwriting, shaky from the illness, but definitely his. "Where is this will?" "That's the problem. It should be with Morrison. Your father told me he hand-delivered it 2 months ago. Made sure it was filed properly. But Morrison only had the old one." "Exactly." Henry met my eyes. "And your father died very suddenly. Heart attack, they said. But Sarah? He was doing well. The cancer treatment was working. His doctors were optimistic." A cold spread through my chest. "You think?" "I'm not accusing anyone of anything. But I think you need to ask questions. Hard ones." I drove to my father's house, Rebecca's house, now, and let myself in with the key I still had. She'd said Friday. It was only Tuesday. The house felt wrong. The furniture moved. Pictures gone. I found her in Dad's study, going through his filing cabinets. "What are you doing here?" She didn't look up. "This is still my father's house." "Was his house. It's mine now." "You're trespassing." I watched her stuff papers into a garbage bag. "What are you looking for, Rebecca?" Her hands stilled. "Just for a second. Just clearing out old business documents. Making room." "For what? The embezzlement records?" She froze. Slowly she turned to face me. The mask was completely gone now. What I saw underneath made my blood run cold. "You need to leave." "Dad knew. He found out what you were doing." "You don't know anything." "I know there's supposed to be another will. One where I inherit the company, one that Dad filed 2 months ago." I stepped closer. "Where is it, Rebecca?" She laughed. Actually, I laughed. "You think Morrison's just gonna let you waltz in with some story?" He read Dad's will. "The official one." "The one you swapped. Prove it. Her smile was razor sharp. You've always been the emotional one, Sarah. Poor grieving daughter can't accept that daddy loved me more. Who do you think people will believe? I called Attorney Morrison first thing Wednesday morning. Mr. Barris. Morrison, I need to know, did my father visit your office 2 months ago to file a new will? Silence on the line. Too long. Miss Chen, I can't discuss, please. Just yes or no. Did he come to your office? Yes, he did. My heart raced. And did he file a new will? He brought a document, but after reviewing it, I explained that certain provisions might be contested. I advised him to reconsider. He said he'd think about it and left with the document. He left with it? Yes. Said he'd return after making revisions, but he never came back. So Dad had taken the will home, which meant Rebecca had access to it. I spent Wednesday afternoon at Dad's doctor's office. Dr. Patel had treated him for 3 years. Miss Chen, I can't discuss patient records. Was my father's death expected? She hesitated. No. His last checkup was 2 weeks before he died. Heart function was good. Cancer markers were improving. I was optimistic about his prognosis. So a sudden heart attack seems unlikely, but not impossible. Stress, genetics, these things happen. Did you perform an autopsy? The family declined. Your sister said your father wouldn't want that. Of course she did. I met with Henry Wu again Thursday morning. He'd done more digging. The embezzlement is bigger than we thought. Rebecca didn't just steal $400,000. She's been moving money through shell companies for over a year. Total damage, close to $2 million. I felt sick. How did Dad not notice? He did. That's why he was changing his will. But Sarah. Henry's expression darkened. I pulled his medical records from the hospital the night he died. He showed me a toxicology report. What am I looking at? Elevated levels of digitalis. It's a heart medication, but in high doses it causes fatal arrhythmia. Looks exactly like a natural heart attack. Someone poisoned him. I'm saying the levels were abnormally high. Could be an accidental overdose. Could be something else. My sister had murdered our father. I couldn't go to the police. Not yet. Rebecca was right. I had no proof. No physical will, no evidence of murder, just suspicions and circumstantial findings. I needed her to confess. Friday morning, I showed up at the house for the last time, supposedly to collect my things. Rebecca was in the kitchen, coffee in hand, looking perfectly composed. Right on time. Your boxes are in the garage. Actually, I wanted to talk about Dad. She sighed. Sarah, we've been through this. I know you killed him. The coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. Excuse me. The digitalis. The missing will. The embezzlement. I know everything, Rebecca. She set down the cup very carefully. You're grieving. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. You found out Dad discovered your theft. You knew he was cutting you out of the will. So you poisoned him and destroyed the new will before it could be filed. That's insane, is it? Or did you just underestimate how much evidence you'd leave behind? Her face changed. The fake sympathy evaporated, replaced by cold calculation. You have nothing. Dad's cremated. The will doesn't exist. And even if you go to the police with this crazy theory, who are they going to believe? The daughter who cared for him? Or the one who's clearly having a breakdown? Maybe. I pulled out my phone. Or maybe they'll believe the recording I've been making of this conversation. She went pale. You're bluffing. I played back the last 30 seconds, her voice crystal clear. Dad's cremated. The will doesn't exist. I haven't admitted anything. Not yet, but you will. I'd set the trap. Now I just needed her to walk into it. What Rebecca didn't know, I wasn't recording on my phone. The real device was the pen in my shirt pocket, a gift from Henry Wu, who'd worked with enough white-collar criminals to know the tricks. And she wasn't the only one listening. Detective Martinez sat in an unmarked van 2 houses down with Henry and Morrison, who'd been horrified to learn he'd been manipulated. You can't prove any of this, Rebecca said, but her voice shook now. Actually, I can. The forensic accountant, Henry, hired traced every transaction. $2 million, Rebecca. That's not a mistake. That's systematic theft. Dad would have noticed. He did notice. 3 months ago, that's when he confronted you, isn't it? That's when you knew you were caught. She stood abruptly. I want you out of this house. Did you even feel guilty? When you crushed those pills into his tea, did you hesitate? I never. She caught herself. Never what? Never crushed Digialis pills? Funny you'd know the method. You're twisting my words. Am I? Or are you finally slipping? I stepped closer. Where's the will, Rebecca? The real one? There is no other will. Dad filed it with Morrison. Morrison confirmed he brought it in. You must have taken it from the office somehow. Where is it? I didn't. He left with it. Morrison said so. After making copies, standard procedure for important documents. Her eyes widened. I was lying, but she didn't know that. You're lying. Am I? Or did you burn the original thinking that was enough? Did you forget lawyers keep backups? She moved toward Dad's study. I followed. What are you doing? She yanked open the filing cabinet, pulling out folders frantically. It doesn't matter. Even if there was another will, I'm still entitled to nothing. Not after embezzlement and murder. I didn't murder anyone. Then explain the digitalis levels in his system. He was taking it to heart. The doctors prescribed. Dad didn't have a heart condition. Not until you gave him one. She spun to face me, and for the first time, I saw real fear. You don't understand. I built that company as much as he did. I worked nights, weekends, while you played artists in your studio. You deserved what he wanted to give you, not what you stole. He was dying anyway. The words burst out. The cancer was going to kill him in a year, maybe 2. I just made it quicker, more peaceful. Silence. She realized what she'd said. That was a confession, Rebecca. No, I didn't mean. The front door opened. Detective Martinez walked in. 2 uniformed officers behind him. Rebecca Chen, you're under arrest for the murder of Thomas Chen and embezzlement from Chen's import company. She looked at me. Betrayal in her eyes. As if I'd wronged her. How could you? How could I? I felt tears burning. How could you kill our father for money? They read her rights, handcuffed her, led her out of our childhood home. I stood alone in the study, surrounded by 20 years of family memories, and let myself cry for the first time since Dad died. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Rebecca's lawyers tried everything: temporary insanity, accidental overdose, even blamed me for planting evidence. But the recordings, the financial records, the medical testimony, it all painted a clear picture. She is 25 years old. Morrison found backup documentation that helped the probate court recognize Dad's true intentions. I inherited Chen's import company, spent the first year just trying to repair the damage Rebecca had done. The embezzled money? Most of it was recovered from her offshore accounts. The rest? I considered it the cost of learning who I could really trust. I still visit Dad's grave every Sunday. Tell him about the business, about the changes I'm making. Sometimes I tell him I'm sorry I didn't see what Rebecca was becoming. But mostly I tell him I understand now what he was trying to protect me from. Family isn't just blood, it's trust. It's integrity. It's choosing to do right even when no one's watching. Rebecca chose money. Dad chose me. And in the end, that's the inheritance that mattered most. And if you're going through something similar, you will too. Like and subscribe.